Hi, this is Nicholas Bell with IONCINEMA, here to review Superintelligence. It's the fourth pairing of director Ben Falcone and his wife, the star Melissa McCarthy. It will be released on HBO Max, November 26, 2020. So interestingly, Superintelligence filmed back in 2018. So now 2 years later, during a pandemic, we are experiencing the fourth union of Falcone and McCarthy, which is probably the least successful, following Tammy, The Boss, and Life of the Party. And it features Stephen Mallory's script, who also wrote The Boss. Here we have Melissa McCarthy, who's living in Seattle, currently unemployed. She's described as a very average milquetoast woman, which is a plot point. She's interviewing for a job as a digital strategist at this hookup app called Badonkadonk, which of course she doesn't get, but it's here where it's determined that she's so average that all these weird camera angles and shots of like Big Brother watching her, we come to find is this artificial intelligence that is honed in on her and speaks to her through her appliances at her apartment, and she freaks out, and then he starts talking to her in the voice of James Corden, which calms her down, and he explains to her that, you know, something's going to happen. He doesn't say this in so many words, but something's going to happen in 3 days, and if he could be allowed to observe her and her human behaviors, he would be able to better help the human race, basically. She gets a Tesla and $10 million, and then he suggests, which ends up being a test for her, to try to reconnect with her old flame George, played by Bobby Cannavale. And so that's the bulk of the film. It's really kind of a rom-com of her trying to reignite the flame with Bobby Cannavale, who is a professor who's about to go off on be an adjunct in Ireland for a year teaching. At the same time, her best friend, Dennis, played by Tyree Henry, who works for Microsoft, she makes him aware of this AI. He discovers some weird coding things concerning this AI and brings it to the feds, and all of a sudden he's advising the president, played by Gene Smart, and her right-hand man, General Gomez, played by Michael Beach, and they've determined that this is a major threat that's already causing problems over in Europe and Asia with blackouts and other technologically related issues, and so they come up with a plan to shut down the world except for this little space in Seattle where the AI will be forced into and they can trap it. But the AI knows that they're going to do that and has other plans, etc., etc. The resolution, of course, is as ridiculous as the rest of the plot. It's shot by Barry Peterson, who shot Goosebumps 2 and Sisters, Game Night. This feels very much like a glossy, stretched out commercial, another like sketch scenario from Falcone and McCarthy that is stretched to the limit. It's cliche, built upon cliche, and just not a lot of it is very fun. If you like Melissa McCarthy, you know, you usually there's some nuggets you can find in there in these films, but here she's kind of straitjacketed into playing, you know, ostensibly the straight man, but then she's put up against artificial intelligence, which is also the straight man. So there's really no room for anything kind of interesting or funny to happen. Like in her other films with Falcone, she's kind of larger than life, and like in Tammy, or even as the sweet woman going back to college in Life of the Party. Just none of that energy here. There are a couple moments that are chuckle-worthy, but overall this just feels like kind of a big waste of time. Overall, I would give Superintelligence 1 out of 5 stars. Thank you.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.